Happy Sunday, everyone. This is Andrew Bradshaw. I'm with Coldwell Banker Apex, the Bradshaw Group. Wanted to talk a little bit about the market and what I'm seeing being out there. I have active buyer searches and I'm listing about 3 homes right now, kind of all over the Metroplex. So getting a bird's eye view, took a vacation for a week on the West Coast, coming back to it and really seeing some interesting trends and heard some interesting data I wanted to share today. So a lot of you guys know me on maybe from the West Coast. So I'm going to be talking about things that are specific to the Dallas market, but they may actually impact you. I do think there's a lot of causality here that some of the stuff that I'm seeing locally could be national trends. And a lot of the stuff is early. I mean, I want to preface this with saying, look, I simply am not even going to pretend for a moment that I can predict the future. But what we do in real estate, everything from comp analysis, we take the best data that we have today. We look into the past 90 days and we use that to make future predictions based on trends. And that's what we'll be talking about. So, going over a quick overview of what happened last year is we had really low interest rates, a lot of buying interest. A lot of millennials are coming into home purchasing age. And a lot of people had different epiphanies at work. Work from home was a lot easier. We had mass relocations. A lot of people, for political reasons and other reasons, were able to relocate if they wanted to. And that kind of became the trend and the norm. So we had a lot of people leave populated cities, which have more apartments, condos, et cetera, and go to suburbia. And a lot of that time, that's home ownership. Dallas, we saw a lot of big national headquarters come out here to Dallas and Fort Worth area. So it's been a really busy time for us realtors. Well, I think there's this current perception that this market has slowed down, that it's a crazy buyer's market and that sellers are just conceding left and right. And I think that is, and there's a lot of national data and national news media that will spin this data into a story that and a narrative that they like, but that might not jive with some of the things we're seeing out there in the market today. And you got to remember that the syndicated national media, whether you're right leaning, left leaning, or just kind of center, they're looking for a poppy headline that's gonna really clickbait and grab. Whereas I, as a realtor, I'm looking for something substantive. I think I'll see on both sides, like, horrible housing market or buyer market, and they'll really exaggerate it. But the truth is usually somewhere in between those extremes, almost always. In our current market, we're seeing some renewed buyer sentiment at a level that I want to say, at least here in Dallas and Fort Worth, there's a groundswell to believe that this summer is going to be very active. We have really low inventory in Dallas and Fort Worth. I don't have the exact numbers, but we do have lower inventory than usual. And we look at that through a lens of supply and demand metrics. So if we have 100 homes for sale, and if we had, we'll take 2 scenarios, 10 people buy homes in a month, then we'd say, okay, well, now there's 90 homes left, and that's if no homes came to market. So we have 9 months remaining supply, based if people are buying 10 homes a month on average. And so that's how we kind of realize supply and demand. Whereas if we had 100 homes and 50 homes disappeared, we go, gosh, we only have 1 month left. We want to see as a market about 4 to 6 months to say that we're in a balanced market. In our current market, there's just not enough supply. So we definitely need people to list their homes. But strangely is we have, there's a lot of reasons for this. A lot of buyers and sellers are not understanding where we're at with the market. So sellers are listing their home, and we have, I'll just be frank, we have agents that subscribe to the mentality of kind of, hey, you're the client, you choose it. They're maybe not having the voice to be able to tell a client, hey, this is where the market's at today. Houses are a commodity that goes up and down over time. I know you love your home. I know your neighbor sold for this price last year, but let's look at the most recent data. What's a realistic scenario? So when we don't have that, we have a lot of sellers entering the market, and we've seen days on market go up quite a bit. So days on market in almost all of the Dallas and Fort Worth counties, and I look at the county data monthly, have doubled, and in some cases they've almost tripled. Another interesting thing that when we're looking at annual data, so we're looking at this year versus last year, people would think that the, quote, the bubble has burst and prices are coming down. It would shock you to know that in a lot of areas I work, a lot of counties, we're seeing anywhere from 8 to 12% price appreciation from where we were at last year. And that's normalized data, that's an average. So of course, every scenario is a little bit different. But the housing market in Dallas is really strong still, and that doesn't look like it's going to change. A couple of the nuggets I really want to share with you, though, that I just find interesting, and we'll kind of track with this over time, and we'll find out what that means, is new home builds. So new home builds mostly aren't on MLS. Your big builders like Lennar, KB Homes, Toll Brothers, they're these national names that you probably have anywhere in America. They've been doing really, really, really well, and they've been selling out of their communities starting in January at a pretty fast rate. So we saw interest rates go from last year 3%, 3 point something as an average, all the way up to 7%. So they almost doubled. Well, what's that going to do? That's going to shrink what buyers can buy. And it really took some steam out of the market. Not a bad thing, but you got to remember a year ago, we were in multiple offers on almost every home. All over the news. I mean, this was a fairly accurate fact. If you listed a home last year, especially in Dallas and Fort Worth, you were going to have a lot of interest. And if you were priced anywhere that was, close to appropriate, you had a great chance to get multiple offers. Well, think about that logically. If you have multiple offers, if you got one home and 10 people are bidding on it and only one person buys it, over and over and over again, where did those other 9 people go? My answer is they're still in the market. Now, some of them are in leases, maybe some of them moved to different communities, maybe hopefully a lot of them found homes. But I'd say the overall sentiment is we had so much interest in purchase this last year, and some of those people are having leases that are going to expire in sometime in summer, maybe in fall. I know clients that sign short leases, or they made sure that they're saving funds to break the lease if they find the home they're looking for. So we're starting to see the buyers re-enter the market at a rapid rate. It's anecdotal evidence, but I'm a part of a group. We have 1,200 realtors. We did over $4 billion in residential sales last year as a group. So we move a lot of volume in Dallas and Fort Worth. And I've seen all over our message boards, open houses at entry-level price points to luxury to super luxury with 20, 30, even up to 50 families touring them in late January and into February. So this message to wherever you're at in the process, if you're thinking about buying, I would say you really need to contact a great realtor and start to have that conversation now. It's not really wise to kind of wait and delay this. 2 other factors that I put in is listen to a podcast, Derek Thompson with Plain English. He covers a wide variety of stuff. He's a writer for The Atlantic. He had a guest on talking about the housing market. One of the statistics he cited is Lennar and KB Homes, publicly traded, Lennar and D.R. Horton, publicly traded stocks are almost up 3 times in value over the course of a year. So they had to go through all the lumber increases, they had to go to labor shortages. They went through all of these things in COVID that were supposed to be negative for their business, but they've still had enough demand to be very, very profitable and still sell homes at a really across the nation at a profitable and at a quick pace. Probably the most interesting statistic, I saved it, is the NAHB publishes a monthly statistic about builder sentiment. So they poll all the builders nationally and they talk to them and say, hey, what are you seeing on the front lines? What are your sales office, your district managers, what do you guys see? So, 0 or low number means that there's not much buyer sentiment. It's like terrible. They're trying to come up with ways to unload the product or their homes. They're sitting on inventory. And 90 or 100 would be a really hot market. And something in the middle in the 50s would be a normal pace of business for them. So when we really took off in May 2020 to June 2020, within a 30-day period, what we saw that sentiment go from the 30s into the high 50s. January into February, we're seeing a very similar trend. So in January, we are down in the 30s. This matches November and December last year. And then this month, when we get February's number in, I'll share it with you guys, but we're expecting to see a huge increase as well, 20 to 30 points on NAHB's survey of national builders. So, and this is something I'm seeing hyper local as well. When I go out to the new build communities, I went to one the other day, the tour's on YouTube, a CB Jenny community. They've only been open since December. They're only going to have 150 townhomes. They're priced pretty well in the 300s. They've sold 17 units in the course of 40 days. So, and then when I was there were 2 or 3 other people interested trying to move forward. So we're seeing that we're not even in the quote season, even though they're really, if you know the undercurrents to real estate, there isn't truly as much seasonality as you might think. You know, you can always find a proper way to market and sell a home, even in the dead of winter. You can buy homes out of season, and that's not a problem. But we're seeing some interesting trends kind of coalescing, coming together. We don't have enough inventory. So we're seeing that, yeah, buyers coming to the market, maybe they don't feel they have the selection they want, but they're not getting these massive concessions across the board always that they think they are. And sellers a lot of times are kind of coming back into the market, but they're pricing too high because they don't have really good realtors that are analyzing the last 30 to 60 day data and letting them know, hey, these prices have cooled and settled in. They're by no means bad. A lot of people have massive equity positions. So this really is the time to find yourself equipping yourself for your search or your sale with a great realtor that can help you navigate these changing currents, because I can't say emphatically what will happen, but I'm starting to see that pressure where we're going to probably have a seller's market again in summer because our inventory levels are just so low. And we've got, at least in Dallas, Fort Worth, a ton of people coming back into the market, and interest rates have gone from 7%, even like a low 7%, back down to 6%. I know they ticked up last week a little bit, but that's what we're seeing in the market today. The other trend that is reoccurring is a lot of people that are moving in from out of state in Dallas and Fort Worth, and just in general, a lot of people that are new home buyers are really looking for properties that are well kept, well maintained, and updated. That's one of the number one things I'm seeing. Even if a property has a lot of value, people don't want to buy a property as much as they used to and do like a fixer-upper or have to do full bathroom remodels. Because I think as a society, and especially people in Texas, we're spending a lot more time at home. You know, a lot of people are streaming and they're just really enjoying coming to Texas for the idea that they're going to spend a lot of time at home. And most people that have lived through their own remodel know that it's a difficult thing to ask. So I hope you found this informative. I hope this was good. We'll always timestamp, put a date on this so it's relevant to the time. I'll try to do an update every couple weeks or as things change in the market. But right now, we're seeing some cross currents of sellers coming in a little bit high. So we are seeing price reductions. Homes are sitting on the market 60, 70 days before selling, still leaving the market with really good equity for sellers. So not all bad news. And then buyers on the other side just really don't feel they have the selection. They're able to get closing cost help. They're able to find a little better deal, and they're not entering into the crazy bidding wars as much yet as they did last year. But overall, now is a really, really good time on either side of the fence to make your plans for spring and summer, because I think we're just going to see a lot of interest and a lot of activity in the coming months. Hope this was helpful. Feel free to leave a comment. Reach out to me privately if you have any questions about this, how this affects you, your family, your search. Love to just chat about the market, and appreciate you guys watching and following along on my journey. All right, everyone have a good Sunday. Chat later. Bye.